start running after taking 6 months off. It's not easy, it's hard, and I'm going to talk about it today. It happens to so many of us runners, and in all likelihood, it's happened to you as well. You set your New Year's resolution goals, you're super stoked, you get out there and you start running. And as time goes by, you start to see some amazing results, from weight loss to PBs, and you start thinking about your races that are going to be happening in the fall. And wow, are you happy? But then something happens. You get injured, or the pandemic happens, or something really just crazy happens in your life. You get busy, you've got birthdays, you've got commitments, family, and all of a sudden you find yourself looking at it going, it's been 6 months since I've been out for a run. This isn't good. So what do you do about it? In my case, it's been a year since I ran my ultra marathon. How do you come back after something like that? I haven't run very much this year. It's been quite awful. I've watched my fitness disappear. I've watched the weight gain increase, and I've noticed my mood changing, not for the better. Feeling really down a lot of the time. The motivation starts to wane. It's not fun, guys. So the question has to be asked, how do you start running again? So we have to get some perspective on all of this. So what happens in your body when you do stop running? First off, there's a decrease in blood volume in mitochondria. These are the power plants in our cells. Plus, your lactate threshold falls. In general, the longer you have been training, the more quickly you'll be able to get back into it after a layoff. So in general, someone who's been running for 15 years and takes a year off will find it's easier to come back and get into great shape in running. But someone that's only been running for a year or two finds themselves taking a lot longer, and a lot more frustration happens. I don't know what camp I'm in. All I know is it's hard. So the longer you've been running, the bigger your foundation of aerobic strength is. You'll have a much higher level of mitochondria to produce the energy, more red blood cells to deliver oxygen to the running muscles, and more metabolic enzymes than someone who has just started out running. So while your fitness falls during a layoff, it won't fall as low as if you had just begun running. So in general, here's how much of your maximum aerobic capacity, aka VO2 max, or cardio fitness, you'll lose with time off. 2 weeks off, you lose about 5 to 7% of your VO2 max. 2 months off, you'll lose about 20% of your VO2 max. 3 months off, you will lose 25 to 30% of your VO2 max. I don't know what I'm gonna lose on mine right now, because again, it's been a while of stop, start, stop, start, stop, start. So I don't know if I'm down 50%, 60%, 70%, I have no idea. You also lose conditioning in your muscles, tendons, ligaments, connective tissue. It's difficult really to assess how much conditioning you lose or how quickly you lose it. But it's the weakness in the musculoskeletal system that causes so many people to get injured when they return to running. This is why running slower, reducing mileage, and allowing rest and recovery days are so important when you're making a comeback. And this is so true in my case. I suggest walking before running. And the reason for this is, before you return to running, you should be able to walk for at least 45 minutes without pain if you're returning from an injury. Walking reconditions soft muscle tissues, tendons, ligament, fascia, connective tissue, preparing them for more rigorous demands of running. Practice, and then practice some more. Too many times a race or another goal encourages a runner to do more than they should after an injury. I've been in this camp and I know it all too well. And that's how I got injured again with my shin splints. So even if you've been cycling, swimming, or doing CrossFit training to maintain your aerobic fitness, remember, depending on the injury and the length of the layoff, it can take weeks or even months for your muscles and tendons and bones and ligaments to get strong enough to handle running again. It takes the legs much longer than the lungs to adapt to the new stresses. So at first, stick with short, easy runs and take walk breaks. Start with 3 or 4 runs per week, so that way you're running every other day. Try running 5 to 10 minutes at a time, or alternate between running and walk. Too often people get it in their head that they need to run for 30 minutes every day, or run and not walk in order to make progress. When starting out after a long break, you need to check your ego at the door. Leave the body to adapt to the stresses of the workout before starting to add more stresses. So this is how I would look at it. If you are off for 1 week or less, pick up your plan where you left off. If you are up to 10 days, start running at 70% of your previous mileage. If you've been off for 15 or 30 days, start running at 60% of your previous mileage. If you've been off 30 days to 3 months, start running 50% of your previous mileage. If you've been off for 3 months, start from scratch. This sucks if you really want to think about it. But the reality is, that's where I am. Not much I can do about it other than suck it up, deal with my ego, and just do what it needs to be done. My future self is going to love me if I do the right things. Get your muscles strong. And the reason for this is you've got the time to build up your strength. One of the things that I've been doing is lying down, sitting down, using these newfound muscle groups like my glutes and my abs, all those things that we as runners need to be able to activate. But you got to do the drills. And so if you're going to do the drills, some of the things that you can do is with glutes, you can push off, like you can do a glute push-off drill. As the foot hits the ground, squeeze the glute or butt and drive the run forward by pushing off with the glute muscle, and do this for about 20 yards or so. Mid-foot strike with forward lean. So many runners overstride with their heels striking far in front of their center of mass. This increases the force through the foot, ankle, and knee, and has been linked to injuries. To correct it while you're running, lean slightly forward while keeping your chest up, and think about landing less on your heel and more on the forward ball of your foot, or generally on the flat foot. You might pick up an object about 20 yards away to aim for. Cadence drills. Cadence drills increase cadence or leg turnover, and it seems to shorten the stride length and minimize the impact of which the foot hits the ground. Increase your cadence by switching to a quicker pace. Use a Metronome app in place of music for about 20 yards. Try it out and see how it works out for you. So you want to play it safe. You don't want to put yourself in harm's way when it comes to coming back from time off. Basically what you'll want to do is you want to avoid hitting the road again right away. The track allows you to walk or run without getting too far from your car in the event that you need to stop. In a controlled, confined, flat, traffic-free area for a workout, you can even start on a treadmill. This can be very helpful as the surface is very forgiving and you can control the pace and your incline as it suits you. Cross training. Walking every day is going to be a huge help. It will speed up your cardiovascular fitness, but that doesn't mean you need to run. Add 2 or 3 days of cross training to your routine. Check in with your doctor and make sure the particular mode of workout, either cycling, rowing, swimming, or use an elliptical trainer, doesn't worsen any injury. Check with your sports doctor, check with your massage therapist, check with your chiropractor, check with all of your people, your support crew, to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Leave the ego in your back pocket or wherever he raises his ugly head. Leave him alone. You really just need to focus on you and you coming back to the sport that you love. This is why I love training, using my heart rate to get back into the game. Now, yeah, is it gonna take time? Yes, yes, yes. And I have to forgive myself. I have to just let it go. I have to just say, you know what? I'm never going down this road again. I'm better at this. I don't need to be the victim anymore. I can do this. And it's not as hard as it seems if you know why you're doing it. I love this sport and I don't want to give it up, right? Yeah, I've run some crazy amounts of distances and I really don't want to go back to that guy that I used to be. But I'm telling you guys, the weight gain sucks. And yeah, I'm dealing with it. But man, the cravings hit really hard. And when I don't get exercise, it is compounded so much more, especially with my workload. It's really hard not to reach for, like, you know, some kind of crap food. And it takes all the willpower I have to, like, keep it at bay. And I'm gonna do a video on this, so stay with me on it. It's probably gonna be out in a couple of weeks. It's a hard one I'm working on. It's going to be very in-depth, and I'm going to talk about everything, how I ended up being fat, sick, unhealthy, and how I was able to work my way out of it psychologically, and some of the tips and tricks to help get me through that. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, click the like, hit the subscribe, hit the bell to get alerted when new videos are posted on my channel. Guys, thanks so much, appreciate it. Like I always say, get out and run. See you next week.